okay? Quality is super important, and Facebook keeps making it more and more important with every algorithm update. Quality is taken even more into consideration than they used to, okay? And they're looking at quality scores on a lot of levels, even on a business manager level. So if you have, let's say, a ton of banned ad accounts, okay, in your business manager, then there's a very good chance that your not banned ad accounts are going to have a higher cost, because Facebook's going to assume that that you're kind of a risky advertiser, and they're going to charge you for it, okay? They're also looking at like failed payments and stuff. If you have too many failed payments, Facebook will charge you a higher CPM because you're more risk. It's just like when you go to a bank and try to get a loan, if you don't have a good credit score, the bank charges you a higher percentage of interest because they know you're more risk. So to Facebook, they're trusting you with that billing threshold that you're going to pay the credit card bill when it comes. And if you have a bunch of failed payments, they'll actually charge you more just in case you don't pay one of the bills. They can at least try to make some of that money back by charging you extra. But they're looking at quality, like how many people hide your ads, right? They're looking at comment sentiment, like how many people are typing negative things into the ad, negative words, right? And then they're looking at this on every level, okay? Ad account level, a page level, campaign, ad set, audience, a creative level, and so on. And then user feedback. So comment sentiment, obviously, hide, mark as spam, or report, terrible, be careful of that. Customer feedback surveys, those are mostly for e-com, but I have heard rumors lately that it's happening to people outside of e-com, but I haven't been able to confirm that. And here's stuff that Facebook's looking for, okay? They're looking for page views per user, they're looking at the bounce rate, they're looking at page load time and time on site, okay? So if you have a slow loading site, you're going to get docked. You're going to get docked there, and you're going to basically be charged a premium in the auction, or your ad just won't show as much. And if you have a slow page load time, typically you're going to have a higher bounce rate. Also, when you have a higher bounce rate, your time on site average across all your users is also lower. So to Facebook, this looks like, man, this guy's got a slow page. Everyone's leaving when they get there. And even the people that are staying aren't there very long, because when they try to get to the next step, it takes too long to load. So you get docked all these points basically, and it makes it really tough. So having a fast loading page is super crucial, and it will dramatically reduce your ad costs. Okay. So what I would recommend is I don't have a slide for this, but go to like webpagetest.org or gtmetrics.com. Okay, and you just type your landing page URL in there and click check or analyze, whatever the button says, and it'll tell you your load time. Okay. Your load time, if it's like an e-com store, should ideally be 3 seconds or less. Anything over that, and it's going to hurt you. For a lead gen page, you're looking at 2 seconds or less. Okay. So I had like one client, like just 2 weeks ago, actually. First thing I did, so that's like the first thing I do when a client comes to me for consulting. Boom, let's pop your landing page in there and see. That's a quick thing you can optimize. It'll dramatically bring your cost down. He had a 25-second page load time, which was terrible. And he's like, I don't understand why this is not converting. I'm like, people are leaving, man. And we went and looked at how many outbound clicks he had and how many landing page views he had to see what the drop-off was. And he was losing almost half his users before they even got to before the page even loaded. It's unbelievable. So anyway, if you want to see what your customer feedback is, you just go to facebook.com/ads/customer_feedback, and it'll just give you a nice little graph like this. This is mainly only applicable to e-com. At least currently. And as you guys have heard, I heard Depeche go over this, so I'm only going to go over this for a second. They're getting rid of relevant score. Most of my ad accounts now have these new features, which is cool. But the quality ranking, engagement rate ranking, conversion rate ranking, Facebook is looking at these features, and this is very nice, the data they're giving us now, because now we can, if your ad's not doing well, but you have a good conversion rate ranking, a good quality ranking, then you know obviously it's the engagement that's the problem, and you just need to run more PPE. So that there's going to be actually actionable data from this, which is really nice for the first time. So this is personally how I measure negative feedback. So I'm going to give an example here. This was for a client about a year ago, a lawyer doing Social Security lead gen, funny enough, like I used to do. So what I do is I just tally up all the negative feedback in this box here, how many people hid the post, hid all the posts, and reported as spam. So that's 13 total. and then you just divide it by the number of total people reached, okay? So 217,000 in this case. So 13 divided by that is 0.006%. I found that this was a fairly standard number across most of my ads. So this is a fairly average number. Obviously, if you can have it lower than that, it's great. Now here's an ad that was very, very bad. I was running this during for Social Security Disability also. You can see a little Trump sign on the White House there. This is when he was running for office. People did not like this ad, to say the least. So I had 227 negative feedbacks. A lot of people hiding the post, reporting as spam, and so on. And this one only reached 130,000 people, like half of the other one. But it had like 10 times more negative feedback, or actually maybe even higher than that. So when you divide that out, 227 divided by 130,000, you get 0.17%, which is I think like 50 times or so worse than the other one. When you start approaching this realm, this is literally my rep called me and said that my ad account was about to get banned if I didn't delete this immediately. So once you get up to this range, you need to delete that ad. And basically just figure out why people are, in this case it's obvious why people don't like it, but figure out why people aren't, why they don't like your ad basically. All right, so what do you do when you have negative feedback issues, right? Like how do you fix it? One, if it's your ad's that bad, just delete the ad. Okay, that'll help a lot. But typically I found that you can counter this with higher engagement, okay? So it's the first thing I do when I have, I notice my costs creeping up, and it doesn't really make sense why. Like I have new creatives, my landing page is good, I'm multivariate testing, everything should be fine. What the hell's going on? Typically it's due to a lack of engagement or negative feedback, okay? So first step is I run PPE, and I usually dedicate 5 to 10% of the budget to PPE for at least a few days. And then I slowly taper the budget down, okay? PPE is page post engagement, by the way, in case some of you don't know. And it's very important that you use the same post IDs from your ads in the PPE so that on a page level and a post level, your engagement rate is higher, okay? Then if that doesn't work, then run page likes, okay? Or that will work typically, but maybe it won't give you the results you want. You need a little bit more boost. So page likes is the next step. Just throw like 10 or 20 bucks a day at it, nothing crazy, okay? And if that still doesn't fix it, then here's like the the main thing you can do. This basically makes the biggest difference, but I just don't use this unless you need to. Step 3 is you just run like a reach campaign where you're going for cheap CPMs. But this is great because what this is doing is it's increasing the number of total people reached, right? And these people are not likely to engage. They're not likely to report your ad as spam or hide your ad or anything. All they're likely to do is see your ad and move on. What this does is it lowers your negative feedback rate because these people saw your ad and didn't complain, okay? And you can get CPMs on this for like $3 in the US, so it's like dirty, dirty cheap. And so to Facebook though, this looks like your quality is going up. All right, engagement. So engagement, so what I do is PPE also, not only do I turn it on and run it if I'm having issues, but I always have it running in the beginning. Always, always, always on every ad account. And I usually dedicate 5 to 10% of the budget for the first few days and then just slowly taper down. You'll find the perfect spot where, let's say you're spending $1,000 a day. That means I'm going to throw probably $100 a day at PPE. Not expecting any conversions out of it. It's just to get that engagement rate high so that my conversion cost will be lower in the conversion campaign, right? And then I find that you can just so if I'm at $100 a day on PPE, I'm running for a few days, I got a lot of good engagement going, I'm rolling good, then what I'm going to do is lower it to maybe like $90 a day. Still cruising on the conversion campaign good? Cool. Next day, 80, 70, 60, 50. And eventually you're going to see your conversion costs will go up, okay? That's when I say, okay, up the PPE just a little bit and leave it. And I find that usually that's going to be around 3% of your budget. Roughly. It's where you're going to want to leave the PPE running. Just for that added engagement boost, because you can see literally when Facebook got rid of relevance score, part of the quality, or part of one of those 3 metrics is engagement rate. So engagement rate is super crucial, so when you're running PPE, it gives you a higher engagement rate and a better spot in the auction, and thus cheaper conversion. And it's very important that you use the same post IDs, otherwise it's almost useless. Okay, and then this is a cool little trick I like to do. It's just a comment from your page on each ad initially, right when you make it, and then reply to that comment a few times from like other pages you have on your account. And I call it like comment stacking. And then I don't have a slide for this, but one thing I've been doing lately for the past few months that I've had a lot of success with is putting an unsubscribe link in my ad, okay? In the comments though. So I'll say something like hey, we respect your newsfeed. If you don't want to see my ads anymore, click here to unsubscribe, okay? And then I make that the top comment by liking it from all my different pages. And so what that does is, instead of someone going and complaining to Facebook, they don't want to see my ads, and saying hide the post, whatever, report it as spam, who knows what they're going to do, right? I get them to click a link in the comments, which then increases my engagement rate because they just engaged with me. They just hit my landing page also. That looks good to Facebook. And then I just let them, and then what I do is I just make a custom audience of people that hit that unsubscribe page, and you just exclude that from all of your ad sets. And then those people are unsubscribed. Nice and simple, right? But then they're complaining to you and not to Facebook, which is great. And it gives you a higher engagement rate. And then those people, there's less hate and less negative comments also, because those people are like, oh my God, I can opt out. That's cool. And if those people really want to opt out, you don't want to show them ads anyway, right? Those are not your customers. So I've had a lot of luck doing that. That's helped dramatically in some cases, actually. So cool. So you can actually see your exact engagement rate if you go into your into Business Manager and then into Page Insights, and then I think it's the Post Insights tab, if I recall, on the left. And then you get at the very bottom is like a table that looks just like this. What you're going to have to do though is this little button at the top here. You're going to have to click that because it's something else by default, and you just change it to engagement rate. But then you can see your engagement rate of all your different ads. Okay, and then it's going to be very clear to you why some of them did better than others. Like I could see here that this ad obviously did well. It had a lot of reach, 3% engagement rate. This one only had 2%. And you can go in and literally see that I'm sure my cost was probably better on that ad. But it gives you a feel for what your engagement rate needs to be. You can also see what type. A lot of these are link posts, obviously, but it'll give you an opportunity also to see what type of posts your users are liking more and engage it higher, which is cool. So I definitely recommend you check this out. There's a lot of good insights you can get in there. Cool. So next is social proof thresholds. Having a lot of social proof on your ads is super crucial. And I found that there's like certain thresholds where you actually will notice a cost drop because you have a lot of likes and shares, comments, video views, and so on. Okay, so basically one reason that I like commenting first on my ad is that there's at least one comment now, right? No one likes being the first one to comment on the ad, okay? It's just like scary to kind of jump in and be the first one, okay? But once you have that first comment, it's a lot easier to get the second comment and so on. So basically, once you get to 10, that's like the first threshold. You're not going to really notice a big difference there. Once you get to 100, again, not a huge difference. It's not enough to really push someone over the edge. Once you get to 1,000, though, you should notice a small noticeable difference, that your conversion cost will go down and your engagement rate will go up, okay? And then once you hit 10,000 comments or likes, etc., that's where the money is for that. You're going to notice a big drop in cost there, and just because people are more willing to engage with something that already has a lot of social proof. But for video views, since videos in general are so important, again, it's kind of the same thing. The first 10,000 views are very hard to get. No one wants to like watch a video that no one cares about, right? It's like useless, especially an ad. And when you get to 100,000 views, you might notice like a very small drop in cost. But when you get to 1 million views on a video ad, I guess, you notice like a major drop in cost. So personally, when I'm running ads and I see maybe I'm at like 900,000 views, I might throw a video view campaign on just to push myself over the edge to get 1 million, because then my cost will usually drop like 20%. And it's simple, right? The reasoning is, well, how many times have you guys basically been scrolling through your newsfeed, you see what looks like a stupid like viral cat video, okay, and it has maybe, let's say, 100,000, maybe not even 50,000 views. You're probably just going to ignore it because who cares about that, right? But if it has over 1 million views and it looks like some stupid video, you might watch it because you don't want to miss something cool, you know? You don't want to miss something that everyone's talking about. So when you have this million views, even if it's on an ad, people are more likely to watch your video and to watch all of it to make sure they're not going to miss anything, just because you have those million views, okay? So that's super, super crucial. Okay, the next question I get a lot is, how do I respond to my customers, okay? Should I respond to all the comments? Should I delete them? Should I hide them? What if they say this? What if they do that? So I kind of came up with this. Basically just, how many of you guys have ever been to like a Walmart or a Best Buy or any retail store? Like, raise your hands, come on, let's get a little energy going here. There we go. Everybody, right? Everybody's been to a retail store before. So imagine, okay, you're a customer and you walk into Walmart or something and you say, hey, is this a scam? Like, are you guys scammers? You know? Like, just like people are doing to your ads, right? If you walked into Walmart and someone just kicked you out of the store because you asked about their credibility, you definitely never shop there again, right? And it's a legitimate concern, especially if it's on online business. So when someone comments saying, is this a scam, question mark, don't just like delete them or hide their comment and kick them. That's essentially like kicking them out of the store, okay? What you want to do is respond to them in a professional way, just like they would do at the store. They'd say, hey, no, we've been around for 15 years. Look at all these awards we've won. Here's our return policy, yada, yada, yada. Here's some testimonials. Like, look at this happy client. She's been shopping here for 10 years. And so on, right? So just treat your customers like that. Don't just like delete or hide them if you don't like what they said. So respond to all the comments, even the negative ones, and just be professional. And other people will have the same concerns that, like if someone asks if you're a scam, other people seeing your ad are thinking the same thing, even if they don't type it, okay? So when they see someone else ask that question, and they see that there's a reply, they're going to read that reply, because they want to be sold, okay? They're interested in your product. They don't want to be ripped off. They've been ripped off so many times online, it's unbelievable. So just respond to all the comments. And when people see a response to most of the comments, they're more likely to comment good or bad because they know you're probably going to respond to them, okay? So when they see that you're responding to people, it makes a huge difference. And I found that actually, at the agency, we have now 2 full-time people that all they do is respond to comments for clients on the ads, because we can get usually an extra 20% sales just from the comments. So if you don't have someone managing your comments right now, get a VA or someone cheap or something, because if you're doing any sort of decent volume and an extra 20% sales would be a big deal to you, then it's definitely worth it. When there is a bad comment, okay, try to hide it and not delete it. When you delete it, you're literally deleting your engagement. Unless that comment is so so I use the example, someone came into your store and was like, fuck you guys are fucking scammers, like I hate all of you, da, da. If someone came in swearing, you'd be like, get out of my store, right? You're kicked out, security, right? So if someone comes in swearing on your ads, same thing, then you can delete it, okay? It's bad comment sentiment. You can even mark it as spam, would probably be even better, honestly. But if it's just like a regular kind of negative comment, maybe someone who didn't get their product yet, okay? Like, hey, I've been waiting 3 weeks for my product, what up, just respond to them and say, hey, we just PM'd you, we're happy to send you out another one if you didn't get it, whatever. Just be nice and professional. And if there's something you can't respond to for whatever reason, just hide the comments, don't delete them. So if you have a lot of negative comments, and I don't really recommend this, okay, but it is an option. We had to do this one time for a client because they were like backed up in the inventory. They were out of inventory for like a month, and people were still buying. So they got a lot of negative comments. People were really, really upset, okay? So what we had to do for a little bit was just go and grab every word from the dictionary and paste it into the, there's like a moderation filter on a page level where you can paste in words that you want Facebook to automatically hide those comments that contain those words. So we just pasted every word of the dictionary in there so that every comment would be hidden automatically, okay? And then we just had the comment girl we have go in and unhide the good ones. There wasn't that many of them, So that can be really useful. I don't really recommend you do this for a long time. This should just be something that you need to do once in a while if something hits the fan, But ideally, don't do that. Page management. So this is a big one. So I had this guy named Tim, actually, from Australia. He's been to like 2 of my masterminds. I've done a bunch of consulting calls with him. And so then he hits me up and he's like, hey, let's jump on another call. So I was like, cool. So I'm looking through his ad account. He's doing really good, doing a good job there, doing everything he should be. Looked at his ads, he's doing good there. His landing page load time's on point. He's multivariate testing. He's doing like all the right things. You know what I mean? He's like, what else can I do? So I'm looking through and I go and I'm looking around. I look and I go and I see his page, his fan page. Okay, and it was like solar or something or other. And I see ad. I'm like, hey, do you guys post like any like real content on your page? Funny jokes, articles, news, memes, anything, you know? And he's like, no, never. And I was like, well, why don't you try, you know? You need to do that because otherwise, remember we talked about the quality a minute ago and engagement, that they're looking at it on a page level also, okay, which impacts your ads dramatically. So I was like, hey, just post 2 or 3 times a week on your page, nothing crazy. Don't post a link, ideally. It's not going to be salesy. Post like a meme or like a empowering message, you know, a funny image, something like that, and boost it to your fans, because this will dramatically increase the engagement rate on a page level. Okay, and they cut their cost by 30% within 1 week just from doing that. Okay, so it was dramatic though. They went from like, it was like a $20 cost per lead down to like $14 or something. Just from posting a couple times on their page. It raises the quality, it raises the engagement, and it's massive. So I'm guilty of this also, where I'm not that great all the time at posting on my pages. But for clients, we do a great job. But if you guys are guilty of the same, and you'll know if you are, you know, do this, and you'll see a dramatic drop really quickly too. Cool. So the next part is competition. I like to say you only have really 2 competitors, and obviously you're everyone else, but yourself. I find that most people are actually their own biggest worst enemy when it comes to running ads. And the key to this though is looking in delivery insights, right? Oh, and that's one reason that the bully method does really well, is because you're actually bullying people out of the auction. So when they see their costs really high, they're going to pause that ad set on that audience, right? Because you're bullying them. Then on the next day, they might let it run again, okay? So then they're going to pause when it hits their certain rule thresholds of a loss. And maybe they'll even run it for a 3rd day, okay? But your costs are going to keep going down day by day as people are like, oh, that ad set's not working anymore. I burned that audience. Whatever they're thinking, let them think that. But your costs should go down, every day basically for the first week. But okay, so delivery insights, auction versus audience overlap. If you have a 1% lookalike of your purchasers here, okay, and then you have a 1% of your purchasers here, the same exact audience, okay, that is a 100% audience overlap, right? Same exact audience, okay? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a lot of auction overlap, okay? Because Facebook, based on the ads you have in there, the past history, and tons of other factors, your ads are going to get shown to different segments of that audience, all right? But you could have a high auction overlap. You need to check these things. So delivery insights, you can check it. There we go. So basically I found if you have 20% or less auction overlap, generally you're okay? But if you start getting into like 25, 30% or higher auction overlap, typically your costs are going to go up. You're basically indirectly competing with yourself. Then what's cool is delivery insights has competition change in there now, which is really, really cool feature. And this is what it looks like. It's not in every ad account, but it's in a lot of them now. So if you just go into delivery insights, it's like the 4th tab over, I think, it says competition. And then you can literally see day by day if you're how much more or less competitive the auction became for that specific audience, okay? So you can say, I can see, hey, that day the cost went up, 13% more competitive, then it was 2% more competitive, 9% more, 11% more, and then it started going down though, 1% less competitive, 14% less competitive, and so on, right? Maybe a big advertiser came in, some big brand, and was just doing a bunch of testing here, and then decided, you know what, we gave it 4 days, doesn't really work, so then they paused, right? And boom, the competition went down. So what's cool is actually when you use the bully method, you can check to see how good it's working by checking delivery insights, okay? If basically you should see it getting less and less competitive, okay? And then if you have a sudden spike of competitiveness, that's going to be someone new that's come in, then you need to bully them too, okay? So your cost might be a little bit higher for the first few days. That's a given. That's going to happen. So if you don't want to lose money for a few days, don't do the bully method. Got to have money to be a bully. And then last but certainly not least is obviously you need to have a budget. Otherwise your ads aren't going to show, right? So while Facebook would totally say this is not true, this is just my own personal opinion that the algorithm is prioritizing larger budgets, not because they're larger budgets per se, but because Facebook is getting more data from them. It's a lot easier for Facebook to optimize for you. So not because the budget's higher per se, but it's really just more data. And larger budgets also allow for faster optimization in surfing. Okay. So let's say that you only want to spend like $100 a day for per ad set, okay? Rather than set your budgets at $100 a day per ad set, what I would like to do is I'll set it at say $300, okay? Then I just pause it after it's spent $100 if it didn't do good, all right? For the day at least, right? But if it does do well, you're like pre-scaled and you can just let it keep spending, right? So you don't have to then up the budget, it's already upped. Like why wait, it's like you can start your budgets at $5 a day, but then you need to wait like a month and to see if you get a sale, like why not just spend that, that money all in a window of a couple days, right? There is a caveat to that though, that you shouldn't, if you don't know what hours convert, you could be pausing too early in the day. It could be a bad day. So you don't want to base everything on that. That's kind of more of an advanced thing to do, but if you do it right, it can save a lot of time and make it a lot easier to scale. So personally, there's some pros of doing one ad per ad set. Basically, it's that it gets good delivery, or equal delivery, I guess, rather. But there's more bad things about having one ad in one ad set. So I typically recommend having multiple ads in an ad set. Actually, I always recommend it. With duplicates, okay? And then people say like, well, how many ads should I put in an ad set? And the mechanics of a lot of these things is the reason a lot of people have trouble scaling. Is because they try to scale up, but they only have one ad in their ad set. And when that happens, if that one ad hits a bad patch of people in the morning, that first 500 impressions, Facebook, you might have a shit CTR and a really high cost per click, but you have a budget set, and Facebook's going to do everything they can to spend that budget, okay? Even if it means burning through your money. They don't know necessarily that a $9 cost per click to you is way too high, and you need like a $3 cost per click. Facebook doesn't really know that, right? What they know is that you have a budget set, and you want to spend that budget, okay? So by having multiple ads in your ad set, each one's going to hit like a slightly different pocket of people, and then whichever ones do well for the day will get served. So by having multiple ads in your ad set, it's like diversifying your risk, basically.
Do you pause the second ad if it's not working well?
So generally, it depends what methodology I'm using, but generally, yes, what I'll do is I'll have like let's actually finish this slide here. I'll have the number of ads per this in my ad set, and then I have my rules set up. And if my rules pause an ad, I will have it automatically restart the next day for at least a few days. And then if the ad is crap every single day, then I pause it for good. Okay, these are just roughly what I found is a good number of ads to have per ad set, based on how many conversions you're getting daily per ad set, okay? That's what this is based on. And this is just number of ads to start with. This is not the number of ads you need forever in the ad set. Basically, when you get to half this number of ads is when is the minimum, and then you need to start adding more ads, okay? So if you're gonna get 10 to 15 conversions daily on a specific ad set, you should have 8 to 10 total ads in there, okay? That could be 5 unique ads duplicated one time, so now we have 10 total. That could be, if you want, 10 unique ads. That could be 3 ads duped a couple times, so you have 9 or whatever. That's kind of up to you. What I usually will do is I'll put like four unique ads and dupe them one time, so now I have 8. Okay, so that's usually what I do. I like to have just at least one duplicate so that the ads get like a fair shake. Otherwise, Facebook just serves it typically to like one ad, and you don't really get a fair test of all your ads. And then when you get down to having only like, after a few days, you're going to be pausing the bad ads and so on, right? Once you get down to like 4 ads or so, that's like the minimum. So then once I'm pausing one of those and I'm down to 3, I'm going to like dupe one of my best ads into that ad set so that I have at least 4 or 5. I'm going to basically re-up on my ads. You don't want to get down to the fact when you only have like 1 or 2 ads. Then again, it's risky. You could have a bad day and your money could get blown like that. So.
You turn that ad on at midnight?
Yeah. You can. I mean, if the budgets aren't, if it's only like, let's say, a couple $100 budget on an ad set or something, it's not really that dangerous to just throw an ad in there midday. But on a large budget, it could spend a lot really fast because I think someone was mentioning this a couple days ago. Was that you even? I don't know. If you put it in there too late in the day, it's the same thing as starting your ads late in the day, where Facebook just like spends as hard as they can to try to hit your budget. So it'll cost you like in some cases triple or quadruple your cost if you start late in the day. So it's the same thing if you add an ad in there late in the day.
Turn the ads back on the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do that every day?
Every day for the first few days. Then I look at so if I had one ad that I turned off every day early and it did shit every single day, then I'm getting rid of it for good. I gave it 3 full days. I let it spend, let's say, 2x my CPA every single day. And if I didn't get a single sale any of those days, boom, I'm cutting that thing. I let it spend 6 times the CPA. I got nothing. That's I'm pausing it for good at that point.
And these 10 to 15 conversion, is this at the ad set level?
Yes, ad set level. Yeah.